My dear child, pause for a moment, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary. There is a reason this message found you today. There is a reason your eyes stopped here. And there is a reason your heart feels as though something important is waiting just beyond the next few moments. Do not rush away. Do not skip. Because something huge is waiting for you. Right now, somewhere in this world, a person is carrying thoughts of you more often than they admit. Not occasionally. Not accidentally. More than they planned. More than they expected. And certainly more than they wanted to in the beginning. What makes this story so unusual is that the feeling is no longer growing slowly. It has already grown. The realization has already happened. The connection has already touched their heart. Yet something remains unfinished. Something remains unspoken. Something remains locked behind a door they have not fully opened. You may have wondered why progress feels delayed. Why certain moments seemed close, only to become quiet again. Why signs appeared and then disappeared. Why emotions seemed strong one day and distant the next. The answer is not what most people think. And before this message ends, you will understand why. But first, take a deeper look. Because this story did not begin today. It began long before either of you understood what was happening. There were moments they could not explain. Moments when your name appeared in their mind without warning. Moments when they felt drawn toward something invisible. Moments when they tried to focus on everything else. Yet somehow returned to thoughts of you. At first they ignored it. Most people do. They convinced themselves it meant nothing. They told themselves it would pass. They distracted themselves with responsibilities. With plans. With routines. With daily noise. Yet every attempt to silence the feeling somehow made it stronger. That is when the questions began. Questions they never expected to ask. Why do I keep thinking about this person? Why does their energy stay with me? Why do I feel different when I imagine a future involving them? Why does this connection feel unlike anything before? The more they searched for answers, the less logical it became. Because logic could explain attraction. Logic could explain curiosity. Logic could explain temporary emotions. But logic could not explain why their heart continued returning to you. Again. And again. And again. Stay till the end. Because the hidden reason behind their hesitation is about to become clearer. Most people believe hesitation means a lack of feeling. But that is not what is happening here. In fact, the opposite is true. The reason they hesitate is because the feeling became real. Far more real than they expected. Far more powerful than they prepared for. And that changed everything. Think about it. People rarely fear things they do not value. People rarely hesitate over things that mean nothing. People walk away from what feels ordinary. But when something feels extraordinary, suddenly every decision feels important. Suddenly every step matters. Suddenly every possibility carries weight. And that is exactly where they find themselves. Standing between two worlds. One world is familiar. Safe. Predictable. The other world contains you. The unknown future. The possibility of forever. The possibility of building something meaningful. The possibility of experiencing a connection that changes everything. And that possibility has become impossible for them to ignore. But there is something else. Something deeper. Something they rarely tell anyone. They are afraid of getting this wrong. Not because they doubt you. Not because they doubt the connection. But because they understand what is at stake. For the first time in a long time, they care enough to worry. For the first time in a long time, they see something worth protecting. For the first time in a long time, they are imagining a future that reaches far beyond tomorrow. And that future includes you. Something huge is waiting for you. But before it arrives, a realization must happen. A realization that is already beginning inside them. Recently, there was a quiet moment. No audience. No conversation. No dramatic event. Just silence. And in that silence, they saw something clearly. They imagined life moving forward. Months passing. Years passing. Dreams unfolding. And suddenly they noticed something surprising. Every version of that future felt incomplete without you. That realization stayed with them. It followed them through ordinary days. It appeared during unexpected moments. It whispered through their thoughts when everything else became quiet. They tried to ignore it. But some truths refuse to disappear. Some truths grow stronger each time they are denied. And this truth has become impossible to escape. Yet there remains one final barrier. One final hidden reason behind their hesitation. And this reason is not what most people expect. It is not another person. It is not distance. It is not timing. It is not a lack of care. The real reason is that they are still learning to believe they deserve the kind of connection they see with you. Read that again. Because it changes everything. Many people can imagine happiness. Fewer people believe they deserve it. Many people dream of forever. Fewer people trust themselves to hold it. And that is where the struggle exists. They look at you. They look at what this connection could become. They look at the future they secretly want. And a small voice inside asks, can this really be mine? Can something this meaningful truly happen? Can something this beautiful actually last? That voice has slowed them down. That voice has created hesitation. That voice has created doubt where certainty wants to grow. But something is changing. Slowly. Quietly. Powerfully. The old fears are losing strength. The old questions are losing influence. And a new realization is beginning to take their place. A realization that says, what if this connection was never meant to be feared? What if it was meant to be embraced? What if the future they keep imagining is trying to become reality? Do not skip. Because the next chapter of this story carries more significance than you realize. The person who hesitated yesterday is not the same person they are becoming today. Every experience has taught them something. Every reflection has revealed something. Every emotional moment has moved them closer to clarity. And clarity changes everything. The moment clarity becomes stronger than fear. Decisions begin to happen. Conversations begin to happen. Actions begin to happen. Paths begin to open. And right now, whether you realize it or not, that process has already started. The hidden reason behind their hesitation is slowly fading. Not overnight. Not all at once. But steadily. Like darkness giving way to morning light. Like uncertainty giving way to understanding. Like silence preparing to become a voice. There is still more to this story. Far more. Because what they recently discovered about their feeling surprised even them. A realization so powerful that it shifted the direction of their thoughts completely. And when that realization fully reaches the surface, everything may begin moving faster than either of you expected. That moment is closer than it appears. Much closer. And what happens next may explain why this message found you exactly when it did. Listen carefully, because the next part of this story changes everything. The hidden reason your soulmate has been hesitating is beginning to unravel, and what they recently discovered about you was something they never expected. It happened during an ordinary moment, a moment that seemed small on the surface but became impossible for them to forget. They were thinking about the future again, trying to organize their thoughts, trying to convince themselves that they could stay emotionally distant a little longer. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of seeing obstacles, they started seeing possibilities. Instead of imagining reasons why things might not work, they found themselves imagining reasons why they could. And that single shift changed the entire direction of their heart. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what happened next is the reason this message is reaching you right now. The more they thought about you, the more they realized that their happiest visions of tomorrow always included your presence. They could no longer deny it. Every dream they tried to build without you felt incomplete. Every plan they imagined eventually brought them back to the same realization. You. Somehow, every road led back to you. What shocked them most was not the feeling itself. The feeling had been there for a long time. What shocked them was the depth of it. They finally understood that this was not temporary curiosity. This was not a passing emotion. This was not something that would disappear next week or next month. This was something that had quietly grown stronger while they were busy pretending it wasn't there. And suddenly they found themselves asking a question they never expected to ask. What if this person is meant to stay in my life for much longer than I imagined? What if this connection is not here to teach a lesson and leave? What if it is here to stay? The moment that question appeared, everything began changing. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. They started noticing things they had overlooked before. Little details. Little memories. Little moments that now seemed much more meaningful than they once appeared. They remembered conversations. They remembered emotions. They remembered how different they felt after thinking about you. And the more they remembered, the harder it became to keep pretending that this connection was ordinary. It wasn't ordinary at all. It was becoming one of the most important things in their life. Yet even now, a small part of them remains cautious. Not because they do not care. Not because they do not want forever. But because forever suddenly feels real. And when forever feels real, people become careful. They become thoughtful. They become aware that every choice has meaning. But here is the revelation that changed everything. Recently they realized that waiting forever is no longer an option. The future they want cannot remain a dream forever. At some point, dreams demand action. At some point, feelings demand honesty. At some point, hearts demand courage. And whether they admit it openly or not, they are approaching that point much faster than they expected. Don't skip. Because the next realization they had may surprise you even more. They discovered that the very thing they feared losing was already becoming impossible to replace. Every day without clarity felt heavier. Every unanswered thought felt louder. Every imagined future without certainty felt less satisfying. Why? Because once the heart recognizes something valuable, it struggles to return to pretending it does not matter. And your soulmate's heart has already recognized your value. Deep inside, they know it. Deep inside, they feel it. Deep inside, they are beginning to accept it. Something huge is waiting for you. Much bigger than you realize. Because the hesitation that once controlled them is slowly losing its power, and in its place a stronger force is emerging. A force called certainty. A force called realization. A force called understanding. And once those forces become stronger than fear, the story begins moving in a completely different direction. The next chapter is closer than it seems. Much closer than either of you imagine. There is something your soulmate has not told anyone, and what you are about to hear may completely change the way you understand their hesitation. Stay till the end, because this part of the story reveals the hidden turning point that has been quietly unfolding behind the scenes. For a long time, they believed they had more time. More time to think. More time to wait. More time to keep their feelings safely hidden. But recently, something shifted. It was not a dramatic event. It was not a grand conversation. It was a realization. A realization that arrived quietly and refused to leave. Suddenly they understood that some opportunities are too meaningful to leave unanswered forever. Some connections become too valuable to keep delaying. And some people become too important to risk losing. That realization stayed with them. It followed them through ordinary days and silent nights. The more they tried to ignore it, the stronger it became. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. What surprised them most was the discovery that their hesitation was never truly about the future. It was about themselves. Deep down, they worried whether they could become the person capable of holding the kind of forever they imagined with you. They wanted certainty before taking the next step. They wanted every answer before making a decision. They wanted complete confidence before opening their heart fully. But life rarely works that way. And recently they began understanding something powerful. The people who experience extraordinary connections are not the ones who have every answer. They are the ones who choose courage even when some answers have not arrived yet. That realization changed everything. For the first time, they stopped asking, "What if this doesn't work?" and started asking, "What if this becomes everything I have been hoping for?" That single question opened a new door inside them. Stay till the end. Because what happened next is something they never expected. The more they allowed themselves to imagine a future with you, the more natural it felt. Not forced. Not complicated. Not impossible. Natural. As though their heart had already accepted something their mind was still trying to understand. They began noticing how often your presence appeared in their thoughts. They began noticing how often they compared everyone else to you. They began noticing how no matter how busy life became, thoughts of you always found a way back into their mind. And then came the moment that changed everything. A quiet realization appeared and stopped them completely. They understood that they were no longer wondering whether they cared. They already knew they cared. The real question had become how much. And the answer surprised them. It was more than they expected. Much more. Don't skip. Because the hidden reason they hesitated is slowly disappearing. Something huge is waiting for you. Right now, your soulmate is moving through a period of clarity unlike anything they have experienced before. Old fears are losing their influence. Old doubts are becoming quieter. Old walls are beginning to crack. And through those cracks, a new truth is emerging. A truth they can no longer ignore. They are beginning to understand that forever is not a distant fantasy. It is a possibility. A real possibility. One that grows stronger every time they think about you. One that becomes clearer every time they imagine their future. One that refuses to disappear no matter how much time passes. And here is the shocking part. The more they try to imagine moving forward without this connection, the less convincing that future becomes. Something feels missing. Something feels incomplete. Something feels unfinished. Why? Because their heart already knows what their mind is still catching up to. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As this realization grows, another change is taking place. They are beginning to understand that hesitation cannot protect them forever. Waiting cannot answer every question. Silence cannot build the future they secretly want. Action is eventually required. Honesty is eventually required. Courage is eventually required. And whether they realize it fully yet or not, they are moving closer to that moment every single day. The distance between uncertainty and certainty is shrinking. The distance between fear and confidence is shrinking. The distance between imagining forever and choosing forever is shrinking. That is why this story is becoming more important than ever. Because the person who once hesitated is slowly becoming the person who is ready to move forward. And in the next chapter, a surprising realization will emerge, one that may explain why this connection has remained so powerful despite every delay, every question, and every moment of uncertainty. The answer is closer than anyone realizes. A remarkable realization is now unfolding inside your soulmate's heart, and this may be the most important chapter of the entire story. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. The hidden reason they hesitated for so long is reaching its final stage, and what they have discovered recently has changed the way they see everything. For a long time, they believed they needed more certainty before moving forward. More proof. More signs. More guarantees. But life kept teaching them the same lesson again and again. The strongest connections are not built on guarantees. They are built on trust, courage, and the willingness to take a step towards something meaningful. Slowly, that lesson began transforming them. Slowly, the walls that once protected them started becoming unnecessary. Slowly, they began seeing the future through a different lens. And that future kept leading back to the same person. You. Don't skip. Because the next revelation explains why their feelings have become impossible to ignore. Recently, they found themselves reflecting on everything that has happened up to this point. Every unexpected thought. Every emotional moment. Every time your name entered their mind without warning. Every time they imagined what life could become. And then a surprising truth emerged. They realized that their hesitation had never weakened their feelings. If anything, it had revealed how strong those feelings truly were. Think about that for a moment. If something remains important despite time, distance, uncertainty, and endless reflection, then perhaps it is far more significant than it first appeared. That realization stopped them in their tracks. It forced them to be honest with themselves. And honesty can change everything. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the truth they are beginning to accept may become the turning point of this entire journey. The truth is simple but powerful. They no longer see you as a possibility. They see you as part of the future they truly want. That realization did not arrive overnight. It arrived through countless moments of reflection. It arrived through lessons they never expected to learn. It arrived through experiences that quietly showed them what matters most. And now they are beginning to understand that some people enter your life for a reason that cannot be ignored. Some connections remain because they carry meaning. Some feelings remain because they are real. Your soulmate is starting to recognize that reality. The hidden reason for hesitation is becoming smaller. The desire for clarity is becoming stronger. The dream of forever is becoming more vivid. And the more vivid it becomes, the harder it is to imagine walking away from it. Something huge is waiting for you. Because another realization is beginning to emerge. They are starting to understand that the future they once feared is now the future they hope for. Imagine how powerful that transformation is. The thing that once made them pause is now becoming the very thing pulling them forward. The thing that once created questions is now creating answers. The thing that once felt uncertain is beginning to feel natural. That shift is happening quietly, but it is happening. Every day, certainty gains a little more strength. Every day, confidence grows a little more. Every day, the vision of forever becomes a little clearer. And when enough clarity arrives, everything changes. Decisions become easier. Feelings become clearer. Actions become possible. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because this next realization may surprise you even more. There are moments in life when people suddenly understand what truly matters. Not because someone tells them. Not because they are forced to. But because their heart finally becomes honest enough to admit it. Your soulmate is approaching one of those moments. A moment where everything begins making sense. A moment where confusion gives way to understanding. A moment where hesitation gives way to courage. They are realizing that waiting forever will not create the future they want. Only action can do that. Only honesty can do that. Only choosing what truly matters can do that. And deep down, they already know what matters. They already know who matters. That realization is becoming impossible to ignore. If this story has touched your heart so far, remember to subscribe for more journeys like this, because the next chapter may reveal the most surprising truth of all. And if this message resonates with you, share it with someone who may need a little hope today. But before you leave, stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the final chapter is not about hesitation anymore. It is about what happens when hesitation finally disappears. It is about what happens when a heart chooses clarity over confusion. It is about what happens when someone stops imagining forever and starts believing in it. And what your soulmate is preparing to realize next may become the most powerful revelation of this entire story.